We often think of photography as, you know, simply capturing light. You push a button, freeze a moment.
Right, the technical side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what if its real power is something else entirely, something deeper?
Mm-hmm.
What if, like, the sources we're looking at suggest it's fundamentally about memory itself?
That's precisely the idea we're unpacking today. Yeah. The material you shared really digs into that link, the connection between photos, memory, and, well, emotion.
Okay,
It
well,
sort of challenges that view of it being just a technical thing. It says the real magic is how images interact with our inner world.
so our mission in this deep dive, then, is to explore these sources and try to understand how images genuinely go beyond the frame.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at how they don't just record, but, actively preserve moments, stir up feelings, and even act as these kind of visual diaries of our lives.
Yeah, it shifts the focus, doesn't it? Your sources really highlight that, sure, technical skill captures the image, but it's the human part.
The human part.
The memory, the feeling that's embedded or maybe recalled later, that gives it lasting power. Like, one source talks about how a slightly blurry snapshot of a family barbecue might hold way more emotional weight years down the line than some perfect studio shot.
Why is that?
Because it's thick with the feel, the spontaneity of that specific time and place.
Ah, that's fascinating. That really grounds it. So it's not just abstract, it's the way the photo makes you remember. So
Exactly.
the camera or your phone, it's less just a recorder and more. Well, one source called it a catalyst for emotional storytelling. How does the material explain that link to memory working?
Well, the sources talk about photos acting as really powerful retrieval cues. They don't contain the memory,
Right.
but they give you this vivid visual hook, something that can unlock a whole flood of other details, sounds, smells, feelings tied to that moment.
Okay.
One article compared it to a key that unlocks a door to the past.
A key. I like that.
Yeah, it doesn't just show you the room, it lets you almost feel the temperature again or
Right.
hear the voices.
That's a great analogy. A key, not just a picture. And so this collection of keys over time, that builds up into what the sources call a visual diary. What does that mean, really, beyond just having, like, an album?
It means seeing these images not just as random clicks, but as conscious or maybe unconscious records of our lives, our relationships, our, emotional states.
Okay.
The sources suggest that when we curate these, when we look back at them, we're actively engaging with our personal history. We're sort of building it.
So it's not just documenting, it's like an ongoing conversation with your past self
Yeah.
through the photos.
Exactly. A
Yeah.
dialogue mediated by these images. They become a kind of narrative thread through your life.
So the act of taking photos, keeping them, is tied into how we understand ourselves, how we remember who we are.
Precisely. And that's where that beyond the frame idea really gets interesting, because the meaning, the feeling of a photo, it isn't fixed when you take it.
Oh, how so?
It changes over time. It gathers layers of meaning as our lives change. A photo of a loved one might seem simply happy at first,
Sure.
but years later, maybe after they're gone, it becomes this incredibly profound reminder of connection, maybe loss. It evokes much deeper, more complex feelings.
Wow. So it goes from just an image to a kind of container,
Yeah.
holding evolving feelings in history.
Yes, exactly.
That makes even those casual photos we snap on our phones feel, well, much more significant all of a sudden.
It does. And the sources really emphasize the cumulative power of all these images. Each one is a frozen moment, yeah, but also a feeling potentially saved, adding another piece to that tapestry of our visual history.
So wrapping this up then, our deep dive into these sources really shows that photography's true power, it isn't just about the light or the f-stops.
Right.
It's a really profound way to engage with our inner lives. Freezing moments that act as these keys to memory, expressing complex feelings that change over time, and building this powerful visual record, our own personal diary. It really is, as one source kind of put it, a love letter to the timeless power in just one photograph.
It really makes you look at your own camera roll a bit differently, doesn't it?
It definitely does. So thinking about that, how photos act as these visual diaries, these containers of deep emotion. Consider a photograph you took today, just a casual one maybe. What hidden stories, what feelings might that single image hold for someone, maybe even you, years from now?